NFL career with the Cardinals.
He's strong. He can move. He was agile. He can make guys miss. He had it all. He had everything in his game.
In Cardinals franchise history, only Larry Fitzgerald has more all-purpose yards.
He did it all, man.
Hello, I want to welcome everyone to the Stump Talk Podcast, Running Back University. Today is Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. I want to welcome Sapphire and Coach Stump Mitchell.
Hello, Ro. Good to see you, brother.
It's nice
Good to see you guys as always.
Nice seeing you, Russ.
Yes.
Tuesday is our favorite day of the week, maybe besides Sunday because of church and football. The Browns are a hot topic. We don't have to search for information. They are the gift that keeps on giving with the drama circling around the head coaching and quarterback positioning for the draft. The Browns just played the Titans. A quick recap on that. Our hero, Sapphire's hero, she cried. We'll get into that, but Shedeur Sanders, 23 for 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, one interception, which was kind of bad, but it is what it is. And he had a rushing touchdown. He ran three times for 29 yards. We're going to open up the floor. Coach Stump Mitchell, what are your thoughts on the Browns-Titans game? The Browns came up 2 points short.
I definitely thought it was a game that they were going to win. Tennessee come into Cleveland in that type of weather. I thought it was a game that they would definitely win, but defense didn't play well. They really didn't play well. I was a little disappointed and really surprised that Tony Pollard was able to rush for 161 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Cam Ward, he was 14 for 28 for 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. But I did not expect them to have the ball ran on them the way they did.
Sapphire?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I was shocked. That was a lot of rush yards for Tony Pollard. I mean, I know coming from the, Cowboys, he was one of the higher tier running backs, but I was surprised that he did all that against our defense. My asterisk is, though, we were missing Collins, and I'm not trying to make any excuses, but, that and the fact that for whatever reason, it seemed like they were missing a lot in the gaps. I couldn't get my head around the Browns' defensive performance either.
Coach, want to also point out Fannin, our kid from right here in Canton. Fannin Jr. was 8 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. The rookie is looking really good. Part of that draft class that we can halfway give credit to Andrew Berry for. Coach, I want to ask you about the defense. We talked about this a few weeks ago. I mean, how long do you expect the defense to continue to hold up all year long, especially coming down this stretch of the season?
Well, I expected them to be able to hold up more so now than earlier in the season. The weather right now is conducive to those guys being able to play longer. They're not going to get as winded as they would have if the temperatures were high. So, I expected them to play much better this past game than they did. But again, they lost Collins. He's been a big part of that defense up the middle. And unfortunately, those guys were not able to really stop the run in that game.
Sapphire, we got the Chicago Bears coming in. They have the running back Swift. Obviously, Coach, you've been in many a film room, more film room than any of us will ever see. As the Chicago Bears are scouting, looking at the run game. Chicago tries to run the ball. They have 2 running backs there. What are your thoughts on that, Sapphire, looking to next week and defending the run game?
Yeah, first I want to make sure I clarify that is an away game for the Browns or a home
That's
game.
correct. That's a away game in
away.
Chicago. It's going to be cold.
Look, traveling is hard. Even though it's an hour flight from the land to Chicagoland, we're playing on another field, right? Number one. Number two, we've got so many issues with our offensive line. We're not running the ball. Now, if we look at Sunday, we have some question marks with the defense. I don't feel well, right? As good as I did last week about last week's game as I do the upcoming game. And all I can tell you right now, gentlemen, is I just want them to protect Shador Sanders.
Sapphire, those problems with the offensive line didn't start yesterday. I mean, they had those problems 3 years ago. So I don't know why Andrew didn't address them 2 years ago and definitely this past year, but instead he thought they needed to get two running backs, which was ridiculous. I mean, totally ridiculous. All those guys on the offensive line, I love them all. But when you take a look at their age, for the most part, and their injuries, there was no reason you shouldn't have gone out and drafted some offensive linemen first, bring Flacco in, knowing what he could do, and run training camp that way and prepare your draft for the upcoming for the next year. Get through this year having a winning season, going to the playoffs, doing whatever you can, and that was feasible when you take a look at what's happening now with Pittsburgh and what has happened with the Ravens and also Cincinnati. This should have been the year that had they executed that plan, brought Flacco in, ran training camp like that, knowing he was the starter, and then Gabe was the number two guy, Shador, wherever they have him, they would be in prime position right now to win that division and be in the playoffs. But they
I want
executed
to.
they executed the offseason like they had never been in that position before. Like a guy in a new position as a general manager that don't know anything and a head coach that doesn't know the health or lack thereof of the football team.
You know what? That's the topic of a conversation out here. Coach Stump touched right on what you said. I know Sapphire. We get it full force here. Looking at not only local media but national media. But the big topic right now, Coach, and again, you've been steadfast on the needs of the Browns. The big talkers right now is they're already looking at the draft and all I'm a little frustrated because everybody keeps telling them they need a quarterback, and I don't understand what football they're watching, Coach. You've given me a different angle maybe to the game, so maybe I have a advantage or disadvantage on how I'm looking at things now as opposed to the avid fan. But Sapphire, what are your thoughts on everybody's talking about Mendoza and Moore from Oregon, and we have so many pressing needs at other positions, as Coach Stump said.
I mean, I think he just answered the question. We have the quarterback of the future if the Cleveland Browns are a professional organization, right? And have professional leadership. This young man showed without the full complement of assets around him, he gave us a glimpse into his potential. So it comes down to if this is what the Browns want to do. Do they want to move in this direction? Or are we, as Browns fans, on the precipice of sitting back and seeing the whole thing torn down again and rebuilt and pretty much being in the same situation we have been in?
Coach, I asked you this question a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the Wildcat. They took the kid off the field, and we had kind of come to the conclusion that they've done that in the past. It was no big deal. Now, fast forward to this Sunday, I think the glaring play that uh, carried most of the topics of discussion was why did they go for 2 points in the first place? They were down 14. They scored a touchdown. You kick the field goal, you're down 7. They went for it, a 2 point conversion. Which, Coach, I want to ask you what do you think they were thinking there? But secondly, Coach, they took the kid off the field again. He got a potential game tying touchdown. The season's a moot point as far as them going to the playoffs. Why not let the kid, learn from a pressure situation and see what he's made of? Coach Stump, what do you think is going on there? Why did the Browns go for 2? And then why did they take Shador off the field this time as well? And the play they ran was almost like one of those follies that you see in the bloopers. You get a ball to the running back for a double reverse pass. I don't know what that was, Coach.
Well, in my opinion, in my opinion, that was not a time to go for two. They went for two after they scored the first touchdown, in which they were down 14 points. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So now they're forced to go for two the second time around. If you want to decide to go for two the second time to say we don't want to take it into overtime, I can see that. But why would you do that when you're down 14? You scored a touchdown and you kick the PAT and you're down another touchdown. And now you have the decision to say, do I want to go for two or do I want to tie it up and send it into overtime? It made no sense, in my opinion, to go for two when they decided to go for two. And as far as the last play on the game that they tried, like Shadur said, they worked those plays. Uh, they worked in practice. It didn't work in the game. Would he have liked to have been on the field? Absolutely. Tick, tick, legendary, baby. Don't take me off the field. But every time they have that opportunity, seem like Stefanski don't want him to be legendary. It just seems that way to me. I could be dead but wrong, but it seems that way. In every situation where he have the opportunity to put his stamp on a game, he tends to take him out of the ball game.
Sapphire?
I totally agree with that. Coach Stump, you're not the only person that feels that way. And, to me, when I looked at Stefanski in that post game presser, I saw a man, a human being, that was very conflicted because of the decisions that he's been making, in particular, as it relates to Shador Sanders. It was, again, a very embarrassing experience for me as a Browns fan to watch him not do that once, but twice in the same game. It was a very winnable game. We could have won the game, but it seems like it's personal with
Well,
Stefanski.
he called a play, uh, and Shador ran 24 yards for a touchdown. It was a pass play. Nobody was open, and he found a way to score a touchdown. So now you're on the 2.5 yard line. You're less than 5 yards away. If you got him back there, you calling a pass play. Who's to say if things break down, he's not going to find a way to get in the end zone again? You took the ball out of his hands. He's now starting to play good football. Like I told you, Russ, he has some. I mean, Roe, he has some flaws in his game. No question about it. He held the ball too soon. I mean, too long. Wasn't getting rid of it and drifted back in the pocket. But you can see now those things are starting to be in the past. So why not give the guy an opportunity to win that game? And if he lose it, then okay. I think the players they can live with it. But the way it actually happened didn't seem like everybody was on the same page with that last play.
Coach, I want to peel back the onion one more layer because this is what we do here. Um, from a standpoint of Coach Stefanski and his future moving forward as a coach, whether as a head coach, an assistant, offensive coordinator, what have you, I think at this point it's fair to say that he's putting some stains on his resume. I think from a structural standpoint, some of the decisions he has made, Coach, going back to he probably had one of the top offensive staffs, with the veteran experience that you and Van Pelt and all you guys had there. I don't know what that was about at the end of the day, but you look at it now, Coach. Some of the play calling, and now we have to go back to drafting Dylan, right? So you had this kid Shador. Everyone has a reason. Maybe he needed to mature. Maybe his legendary thing he needed to sit his ego needed to take a parking slot or what have you, Coach. But for all intents and purposes, the Dylan draft pick looks like it was a mistake. Now, whether we decided that last week, this week, in a few weeks, Coach, somebody is at fault for that draft pick at the end of the day. So, and then you also had the topic with Bubba Ventrone. Coach, they ran back the opening kickoff, the Titans, for 41 yards right off the bat. I was sitting on the couch laughing because I was like, Coach Stump was the first person that let me know that Mr. Vitrone even existed. I didn't know anything about the guy. And coach, he has put up a messy resume, right, as the special teams coach. You know, I don't want to stop a man from making a living, coach, but how is he going to go get another job? You know, with the game film and what has occurred this year from the Browns. But back to Stefanski and whether it's Andrew Berry, coach, I want to ask you, at what point did they admit or come to the conclusion that drafting Gabriel Dillon was a mistake?
Well,
At that, at
I, I can't say drafting Dillon was a mistake. I can't say that because I think the game in which he got hurt in, if he had not got hurt, I think they would have won that game. I mean, he gave Shador a 6 point lead. And Dillon was playing pretty good. I I'm not going to say drafting him was a mistake. I like him. Okay, I think it was a mistake of any quarterback going to the Browns right now. I don't care who it is. If Dillon was with Sean Payton, I think he would be doing a hell of a job because Sean Payton have performed extremely well with the shorter quarterbacks. I mean, you take a look at what they're doing in Denver right now. Bo is not a big quarterback. He and Dillon are pretty much the same size. So I can't judge Dillon or anybody else based on being under Kevin Stefanski right now. I can't do it. It'll be doing a disservice to him, and it just don't. It wouldn't be fair. I can't say that.
Sapphire, what's your thoughts on them drafting Dillon in the third round?
Well, as a fan, not a coach, it was a mistake for the Browns to pick up Mr. Dylan Gabriel. It was a mistake. Fans knew that. Shador Sanders fans that watched him play, that watched him demonstrate his potential, knew that he was the better option, the better pick. Now that's just as a fan. With all due respect to Coach Stump, he's got different perspective from a more professional level. But for me, I believe to my core, Kevin Stefanski and Tommy Rees and Bubba Patron, they're all going to be okay because what this looks like to us is all about cronyism. This is what some coaches do. They move around the league and they have their people that they pick, and it's about their pipeline. And that's what really is the most bitter aspect of the pill that Browns fans have to swallow. We care about our team. In this day and age of social media and all that goes into it, we place a certain aspect of our identity in how our team shows up every Sunday. It's not a transactional relationship that we have. So I submit to you that it comes across that way, that it is for Kevin Stefanski. And again, let me just be clear. I'm a Philly girl. He's a Philly guy. But I'm just going to call this for the way that we feel it is. It is time for Kevin Stefanski and his coup to go. It's time.
Listen, Andrew Berry is worse than Kevin. Okay, because he had a top rated staff. I mean, you could take me out of it. Forget it. It's not about me. I could be replaced. When I got ran over on the sideline, that was a day they thought about replacing me. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts in my opinion. And also, Deuce had gotten fired from Carolina, so he and Andrew had worked together before. So I was going to be the moment I got ran over on that sideline, the Browns were gonna find a way to get me out of there because there was availability. And Deuce is a hell of a coach, bro. I keep telling. I love Deuce. I love his demeanor. He played the game. He know what it's all about. He know how to get people ready to play the game. Kevin, I can't say that for. Andrew don't understand business for the simple fact Sean Payton was already an example of what he could have followed by allowing Coach Callahan to go. He didn't get any picks for him. So he hurt the organization. He hurt the fan base. He didn't help him. You don't just let a guy walk away. But he did that, you know. He did that. So he hurt the fan base and the organization. And right now he's doing the same thing because that team of offensive lineman people, they grew old under his leadership. You there every year. You know the health or lack thereof of your team. You can't allow it to get to the point where it's at right now. And if it is that point, what will ignite people? Okay, you got to have a game plan from A to Z. Bring Joe Flacco in. Okay, he's what we're relying on for this year. Okay, so now you go out. What will make Joe good? Get another receiver to go with Jerry Judy. That's what I do. I get another receiver to go with Jerry Judy. I get an offensive lineman. Okay, he didn't want to listen to Coach Callahan about drafting the offensive lineman that he wanted to do. Worth, who caught a touchdown pass again from Baker. Okay, that's the guy that he should have gotten that has been to the Pro Bowl every year since he's been in the league. But he chose to get Jared Wills, who right now isn't even in the league. So he hasn't learned really how to build a team. He's been on the job, okay, but he keep repeating mistakes. And I mean, the fan base, of course, they're weary because they're pissed off about some of the players that they had that they no longer have. The Ernest Johnson right now may be going to the Super Bowl. He's definitely going to be going to the playoffs because he's with the Patriots right now. You know, Donovan People Jones should have still been in there. Amari Cooper's career should still be going. But those guys were so in love with Cleveland and everything that was going on. You know, it just hadn't worked out for those guys since they left there. But it has absolutely nothing to do with what they would have done if they were still in Cleveland. And you're talking that coaching staff of Alex Van Pelt and TC and of course Coach Callahan. Those guys, if they were still there, they would be winning because those players would be under the same system.
Mhm.
Even though you have some injuries, now you don't have to be on the practice field as much.
Yep.
You could work in those younger guys, but really come game time, your veterans will be the one who had been playing and now would have been in that system for 7 years.
Coach, I want to say we can agree or disagree on drafting Dylan at third, whether he's a serviceable quarterback. And I gotta just say this, Coach. You know, you can't really replace a stunt Mitchell. I wouldn't care if they had to put you on some kind of airlift system and have you levitate, you know, on the field. You can't bring you know, those are some footprints with the Stump Mitchells and Bill Callahans of the world. You just don't replace those guys, Coach. I mean, I
Yeah.
live in a world of facts, and I don't get emotional about it. So we just have to put that out there. That just doesn't happen that way. Respectfully, now I will say this too, Coach. Some of the words that have come up in our podcast: negligence, malpractice, sabotage. I don't know if we're trying to put ourselves in draft position. I want to open up those doors, Coach, because regardless of how we feel about different players and who we drafted and who we didn't draft, one thing we all can agree on, Coach, is there has been mismanagement, right? Most corporate coaches have a year in review. Hey, Ro, hey, Coach Stump, what happened this year? Did you make some sales? What was your conduct? You know, I don't know what's going on in that department, Coach, but I think the record was, I don't know, 4-20, 6-20, Stefanski's record as of late. So, Coach, uh, there's been some malpractice, negligence. I don't know if that's coming from the top. I don't know if they took the kid out of the game to put us in draft position. But I just want to ask you in regards to that, how does Stefanski and Bubba Ventrone, how do you still have a job at this point, Coach? Because this guy, it showed his rear ugly end.
Well, you know, they really messed Coach Mike Prefer around when they got rid of him. When they got rid of him, they didn't get rid of him in January or February. It was after the jobs had been filled, so he couldn't even go and interview for another job in the NFL. You know,
Wow.
but his contract had been renewed, so he was under contract for that following year. But uh, it didn't sit well, and now the special teams has been these last couple of years. They have been much worse than they ever were under Coach Prefer. I mean, and Bubba played for the Browns. He played with the also played in New England, but the special teams have not been performing up to par at all the last couple of years with him. But they're buddy guys. They're in it together, and they're messing it over uh, together. Everything seems to fall in place. They're screwing up on offense. They're screwing up on special teams, and every now and then, unfortunately, the defense get bit. But they got some guys hurt, second level, and on the defensive line. So you can't expect them to be at their best every week without getting something from the offense.
Sapphire, why hasn't Stefanski and Bubba Ventrone and the regime, why haven't they been fired yet by ownership?
I tell you, I don't know because I think it should have happened. And I'm going back to that bye week. And I will agree with you. Okay, Ro, any business, you do a business review. Some organizations do a quarterly business review. But at the end of the year, in my mind, if Stefanski and his coaches cannot show the whoever's making the decisions, and maybe Coach Stump can speak to that, if they're not showing them, here's the baseline where we started, here was kind of like midpoint and then the end, and show progress across those three like sort of periods of time. I don't even know how it's not done within 24 hours after the last game is over. I just don't
Right.
understand it. I'm going to say this too. Another reason why you're seeing a lot of orange seats, and I can tell you, I talked to a ton of people. This is a way for Browns fans to protest. Yeah, we're still with our families watching the games, but we're not going to drive into downtown Cleveland and sit at that stadium and watch this poor quality of product. That's what's going on right now. And you would think that the owners would understand that they're trying to build a new stadium 8 miles away. And this is what the fans have to think about supporting. No, that's not going to happen. They can have all the concerts, all the CFP games and, basketball games down there if they want to. Browns fans are not going to buy those expensive tickets based on what we're seeing right now. And I think a big part of that is needing to see a coaching change, and to Coach Stump's point, a general manager change. Full stop.
Coach Stump, I want to ask you something. There obviously seems to be a detachment from uh, ownership and his coaching staff, skipping over the executives, the GM, and the Batista, whatever role he carried there. Uh, and then you got football guys versus analytics. All that comes into play, Coach. I want to ask you, just in your experience as an owner, I know they're billionaires. They live on a different planet, obviously. But if my coach comes and tells me that we're going to get rid of Bill Callahan, Alex Van Pelt, and Stump Mitchell are going to walk out the door, you're going to have to tell me something that makes football sense. And again, I'm not a billionaire, but I want to ask you, Coach, in your experience, are NFL owners that detached from football and football world, football people like yourself?
I don't know. I mean, Jerry Jones. I like Jerry Jones. I don't care what nobody say because it's his business. It's his team. It's a lot of money. If it's gonna get screwed up, he's got the right to screw it up. Okay, that's how I see things. If he make those moves, that's fine. But whoever Mr. Haslam is allowing to make the moves, he's listening to the wrong people. There is just absolutely no way, Ro. I mean, I was a player, okay, and I've been a coach for a long time, but being around Bill Callahan was just phenomenal. I mean, those offensive linemen, they didn't just play offensive line. Those guys were playing tight end. They were playing running back. They had to know the formations. They had to know the motions, and they did a magnificent job at it. And they did a heck of a job of blocking for the most part for the quarterbacks and for the running backs. You just don't allow a guy like that to get away without getting a couple first round draft picks from him. You just don't do it. And all you have to do is take the model that Sean Payton had. I mean, that's what you do. The Saints made the model for Sean Payton. Denver could have him, but they had to give up something. And they politely just allowed Coach Callahan to walk away without getting any picks for him. Worst move you could possibly do. And they didn't give Scott Peters the job. If they had given him the job, then he would have been able to keep the same offensive system. But worse than that, you need a quarterback coach. Okay. Ashton Grant has been there, Russ, for 4 years. Rabe had been there for whatever amount of time he was there. He didn't have to look nowhere else. He saw the work habits that Ashton Grant had, and that was good enough for him to have him be his quarterback coach for Drake May. Oh, by the way, they number one in the AFC.
Sapphire, I want to put something on your plate to address. Going back to the special teams, again, the Titans returned the opening kickoff 41 yards. Uh, Gage Larvidane, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, had a muff punt, and the Browns allowed a block punt. I mean, if you put check marks up and say, how can we have a bad day at special teams? They did not skip. They did a mistake at every facet of special teams in that game, coach, including the opening kickoff. Sapphire, what are your thoughts on not only just the special teams, how it affects the overall, final score and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, those were critical moments. You talk about momentum shifts, right? I think a lot of what I feel when I watch television is like you have this like progressive style of energy. You just need the ball, right? And let your Shador Sanders go out there and do Shador Sanders. I'm going to say this about young Laverdan. He has, to me, consistently looked shaky on those either kickoff or punt returns. And Coach Stump really made a great point last week. We were talking about this. What would have been the downside of putting a Ford back there, like a veteran back there, right? It just, to me, it was clear he just is shaky, right? So to me, that goes back to coaching, right? And so we're back, we're in this infinite loop. All things come back to the decisions that are made off the field, right? That affect on the field performance.
Coach Stump, I want to open up this topic and ask you. Uh, to me, one of the big things that's going on with us as Browns fans is, and maybe NFL football overall, is the analytics versus football guys. Coach, I like a guy with a beer belly and a fedora. Maybe he smokes a cigar. I'm a little old school. We're going back to the Woody Hayes and again, the guys that coach the game, the Paul Browns of the world, and the Tom Landrys, and where are those guys at, right? I don't. An Ivy League guy coaching football coach is just so far removed from how I've grown up and seen football and been exposed to the game, coach. Not to say that they can't be great coaches, but how is analytics affecting NFL football? I mean, it seems like to me, if you kick a field goal or two, you can win some games. Run the ball, kick a field goal, play defense, coach.
I think it's all based on the things you just said. Is your offense, is your defense. What can you get from your special teams? I mean, with a defense, barring what happened this past weekend, like Cleveland had been playing all year, you don't take no shots at going for it on fourth and one when you got the ball on any portion of your field, unless it's really really late in the ball game and you down and you have to do it. You don't do anything like that starting a game, the second half when you're down 10-8. Give me a break. You don't do anything like that. I mean, you take Shador off the field uh, now because you have to go for two. Like I said, he ran a touchdown in from 24 yards out. You calling a pass, you open up the middle somehow, some way, so he have the option to run if need be. But the thing about Shador is, like I told you, Russ, his uh, zip on the ball isn't great, but he throws a great ball. He throws a catchable ball.
Mhm.
If the wind isn't too bad, you really call your passing game doing when he's got the wind to his back. You still throw it some uh, when the wind is in his face, but now it's more of your intermediate routes, your quick game routes that you throw. If you got a running game that's producing any kind of yardage for you, but right now that was a big deal for them. Their running game wasn't producing any yardage this past game either.
Sapphire, is analytics hurting football overall in the NFL?
My answer to that is yes, full stop. When I think about the average age of an NFL head coach, I believe it's around 48 years old. I think that as a society, we put too much focus on the youth, the youth, the youth, and we don't understand that wisdom is invaluable. So I'm going to co-sign on what you said earlier about Coach Stump. Nice that you're humble, all of that. But as bad as you feel in a good way, Deuce Staley is, he's that way because of coaches like you. And I think that we need to go back to that, have a mix, because sometimes the numbers really don't always tell the truth. You are on the 1 or 2 yard line and you pull Shador Sanders off of that field. That's nonsensical.
Russ, I want to say hello to our producer, Russ. I call him Big Trust, the Oracle. I got about 8 nicknames for him, depending on what day it is. Russ, I
Yes,
want you to
sir.
give us some thoughts on you went the game, you got an inside view, you got to feel the vibes. What did you see on Sunday? What was the temperament of the crowd? What happened when Shadur came off the field? What did you see?
So Shador brings a different energy to the stadium that no other quarterback I've seen. I'm going back here, maybe a little bit of Baker when Baker opened the refrigerators, but the energy he brings is like different when he's on the field. Is different. People don't want to go to the bathroom. You don't go get another beer. You just kind of want to see what he's going to do out there. Um, the stadium was a lot of empty seats, and like Sapphire said, I think some fans are kind of showing a little revolt. So, but I think ownership at that point, I don't think their single focus is getting a new stadium built. And they think we build the stadium, the fans will come back. I don't know, and with their increase in pricing, you're gonna price out a lot of fans, so that could be a catch 22 on their part too. But if you put a winning product on the field, and I don't know if that should do it as your starting quarterback moving forward, you people will come back. You know, um, I got a quick question though. I was listening offline, Coach. This is for Coach with the special teams, do you blame the mistakes on Bubba? Do you put the blame on the players? Is it both? I see like we fixed the kicking, so the field goal kicking, the extra point kicking has gotten better, but everything else is just it's been trash all season.
Yeah, you got to put it on both of them. I mean, Bubba has been there. I think now maybe 4 years.
Hmm.
The special teams they weren't that great last year,
No.
you know, and now they decide on who's going to stay on that team, who's going to they're going to release.
Hmm.
Guys bust their butt. They work hard. I mean, I was a player. I
Hmm.
appreciated everybody. Donovan People and as a coach, Donovan People Jones. I appreciated what he did because we treated him as an afterthought in the passing game and also on
Hmm.
the special teams phase. But we looked at him as a big guy in the run blocking. But anytime we needed something done, uh, he returned
He
punts.
was he was
He,
there,
he
right?
make those blocks. He make those catches. That's tough, man. When you see them giving other people opportunities, especially Anthony Schwartz. I have nothing against Anthony. I mean, he was a player. I was a
Right.
player. But Anthony was not a good football player. He
No.
was a fast guy. It was a poor draft in the third round. But
Hmm.
yet, God bless you with Donovan People Jones in the sixth round, the guy
Yeah.
that put up phenomenal numbers for a sixth round draft pick, and you have hatred for him. You don't have any love. You don't show him anything. But he did what he did because he had God on his side.
Well,
And they let him go.
Schwartz was an analytics pick,
Absolutely.
and DPJ was a football player, and their analytics. And I don't know if that came down from Deep Podesta that kind of got embedded with Andrew Berry, but at that point he was drafting all these analytics guys, and it didn't make sense. You can't win games with analytics. You know what I mean? You need football players.
Yes,
I
and
wonder.
I'm cool with that. But now, once they start playing and guys show you who they are, believe
Hmm.
them.
Yep.
Donovan People Jones was a player. Anthony Schwartz was a guy who wanted to be a player.
And but if you watched Anthony Schwartz in college, that's all he was a one cut track star guy. He wasn't a football player.
Absolutely.
Some note of interest, you guys, and I want to get everyone's thought on this.
Hmm.
We saw Mr. Haslam greeting Deion Sanders. I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm pretty sure Russ saw it. So I just watched that interaction, Coach Stump, and I understand you're dealing with a billionaire and a Hall of Famer like Deion, but here on the ground level and still in the mud as a fan, I have a hard time giving you a version of myself that is not inside me, right? Either I rock with you or I don't. There's no gray areas. And I'm not good at tap dancing, right? To a detriment, maybe sometimes. But with that being said, so they showed Haslam and Dion embracing, and he always say in sports, everybody's a fan at the end of the day. Sports will cut across racism, classism, when they see a sports guy and they're a fan, they're going to be a fan, right? Even if it's just for a few minutes, they're going to throw all the classism out the way or whatever's there, any differences, right? And so, Coach Stump, what are your mindset when you see them two greeting, and then you look at what's occurred, right? You wait until 12, 13 games in the season to get Shador some reps. I'm sure him as a father, he was frustrated and has his own thoughts about why that occurred. And then you run into the owner. Uh, what are your thoughts there? What is the mind state from both sides of that?
Well, I don't think Mr. Haslam's going to disrespect anybody parents. I don't care who it was. I don't think he would do that. So the embrace, he would do the same thing if it was my son or daughter or kids. That's just who they are. They give a lot back to the community. They want the best for the fans. They want the best for themselves. Things just aren't going well. That's just the way it is. I don't think they get. I don't think he interfered too much in terms of the draft, and perhaps he should do it more. Uh, all the meetings that I've been to, he and his wife Dee, they just sit around and they listen. We as coaches would make our comments, and that's just the way it was. But in front of everybody, I thought they allowed Andrew, Paul DiPodesto. I thought they allowed them to do their things, and uh, see, Shador had some issues now. Russ, I've always told you he has some issues as a quarterback. He held on to
Hmm.
the ball too long.
Hmm.
When he was at Jackson State his first year, he was not the best quarterback there, in my opinion. The
Nope.
other kid was the better quarterback. All right. So both of them played, and then Dion told the other young man he might as well transfer because Shador was going to be his quarterback. So the guy left and went someplace else. Shador has never had to compete. So now he's learning that he needs to work on some of the things that he didn't do well. Okay. Like holding on to the ball. I mean, they had Travis Hunter and him at Jackson State, but they didn't win the Black College National Championship.
Hmm.
Okay,
Right.
they were beaten out. So he has some issues that he need to work on, and now I think he's getting better at those things. I love the way he throw the long ball. Okay, he's moving in the
Hmm.
pocket better, but he's not a runner like some of the other quarterbacks in the league. That's not who he is.
No.
But he's learning now that he must maneuver in the pocket, and he'll throw the ball away now, which was something that he wouldn't do because he wanted that highest completion percentage. You
Mhm.
don't get that by throwing the ball away. You can get it. It's okay to take a sack, but those are things that hindered him, in my opinion. Okay, but now he's getting better, and I always thought he could throw the ball pretty well. Again, I didn't think he had the greatest zip, but he could throw the ball, nice soft ball, and that's one thing with Joe. Joe could throw the dang on ball. He could throw that long ball, but he had a little more zip to his passes. But
Mhm.
I thought if they just had the plan to play Joe and the defense playing as well as they would have, not create a fiasco in training camp and everything, the Browns would be number one in the division right now.
Sapphire, what is your take on Dion meeting the owner? And Dion is a football guy like Coach Stump, right? I'm sure him and his family. If I could be a fly on the wall, listen to what they're talking about at the Sanders household
Yeah.
when nobody's listening. But what do you think Dion is really thinking, and what his thought process is in terms of what his son is, where his son is at with reps and the media bull jive, as Shannon Sharp says, that's been going on.
Yeah, well, again, I preface this by saying this is from a fan's perspective and also a black woman's perspective. Daddy came to see about his son, okay? His son. He knows his son and his capabilities, and all of what Coach Stump just said. Shador has shown us his agility, okay, in 3 games. He is 23 years young. Gentlemen, his frontal lobe cortex isn't even completely developed for about another 4 years, right? That's where your decision making, your cognitive behavior happens. What we saw on that gridiron on Sunday, the way that young man stepped up into that pocket, even though it was collapsing, I'm telling you, we ain't seen that in the minute up here. So I think daddy just came to see his son be a grown man and start his journey in the NFL. And we are very excited about this.
Russ, what are your thoughts on Sanders and what he's really thinking in his mind in terms of that whole deal? He has to carry himself a certain way, obviously. But what do you think he's really thinking?
um, I'm really not sure. I think to get back to Dion and the meeting point of view, I think Dion was humbled, just like Shador was humbled. Um, and college season's over, so he's gonna pop in town and check on him. He might go to all the Browns games to the through the rest of the season, which I would if I was a father. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody in the media, say just because Dion is the superstar that he is, he shouldn't be around. I would be there. I'm there. My son, his concert tomorrow. My son has a concert. I'm gonna be there as much as I can see him perform. Um, so I don't know. I just think Shador. I think Jimmy really wanted to see Shador out there, and I think that was Jimmy's pick. And I have conspiracy theories, so I don't want to put them out there, but I think Gabriel was told that it's Shador's time. I'm not gonna say he faked the injury or anything. My conspiracy, but I think it was time for Shador to get on the field, and he was told, "Hey, this is what it is. This is what's gonna be." And I just like Shador, uh, the way he handles the media. I like his energy that he brings. He's humble. He's just everything you can see out of a kid, and I love the black woman's perspective that Sapphire bring. You taking our show to another level. Um, I don't know. I, we talked about this, Ro, about me thinking that they should draft a quarterback. I hate to get off subject, but I'm a draft nit.
Do you think the Browns need to draft a quarterback in the next coming draft, Russ?
I'm on the fence. I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50. I like what
Coach
Shador is
Stump,
doing, but go ahead, coach. I want to hear your point.
Coach Stump, do the Browns need to draft a quarterback with the information we have right now on Shador, on Dylan, do they need to look at the draft and bring in another quarterback, even though they just picked two in the same draft?
Listen, the Browns need to draft offensive linemen. I don't care what quarterback you get, they're going to be in trouble. Shador throw the balls pretty dang on good. If you get some offensive linemen to protect Shador, you don't have to worry about another quarterback. You can go out there, draft a quarterback that's more athletic than Shador. Ain't no question in my mind about it. That probably throw the ball harder than him. I don't know if they can throw the ball better than him. I just
Yeah.
don't know it. And I think he's gonna get better and better. You could try to put a mask on a pig, it's still gonna be a pig. Okay, that offensive line ain't gonna be no better. Shador is not gonna look worse than he look right now. You don't they don't want to make they don't make want to make a big thing about what he's doing. Well, what he's doing is a big thing. Okay, what
He
he's doing
made
is a big
some.
thing.
I
They
don't
they
mean to
didn't.
cut you off, Coach. I don't mean to cut you off real quick, but he made some throws in that game to Fannin, and then
Um,
the touchdown to Njoku. I haven't seen a quarterback in a Browns uniform make those throws.
well, and it don't even have to be in a Browns uniform. I mean, you don't see some. We just saw a guy that won the Super Bowl threw 4 interceptions last night.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely,
that's the only
right.
way they lost that game.
Hmm.
Shador threw an interception. Yeah, that happened. It was a bad throw. Yeah, he'll learn from it.
Right.
But if the defense was playing like they normally played, they win that game going away.
If they don't give up the punt block,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could, you
So
know.
I have a
so they,
question.
they got a good quarterback in Shador.
Right.
What they need to help everybody is an offensive line, because right now you can't even brag about Junkin. Like I told you, Ro, he was probably going to be by the end of the year.
Ooh,
He was going to be
yeah.
averaging. I told you less than 4 yards.
Oh, quick question for you, Coach. Which one of those we have four of those offensive linemen, our contracts expire at the end of the season? Would you bring back any of them or let them all go?
I'll let them all go.
Hmm.
I'll
Yeah,
let
me
them
too.
all go.
Me too. I
I
Hit the
mean,
road, Jack.
and,
Those
and,
who
and,
come back,
and I
who
tell you
come
what,
back.
unless they got a different head coach, they wouldn't want to come back.
Hmm.
Hmm.
They could say whatever they want to say because they're good, polite young men or older young men,
Right.
but they really hate the fact what Stefanski did with that staff 2 years ago. And right now, all they're doing is using coaches as an scapegoat. You fire an offensive lineman, you fire offensive coordinator. That's a bunch of junk. But yes, Stefanski is still there. He's the problem.
I want to, one important thing going along with the Shador conversation, Russ and Sapphire Coach Stump, is he probably needs to win some games, right? Because they're going to hold him to a certain fire that maybe other quarterbacks. It may be unfair. Life isn't fair. That's the way I look at it when I wake up. So, Coach, how important is it to hit for Shador to get some wins under his belt? Because they're not going to make excuses for him. They're not going to be able to say, "Well, he was taken off the field." They're going to say he was 0-4 or he was, 1-5. Especially in regards to going into this incoming draft, they're going to look at his win-loss record, whether it's fair or not.
Well, they lost. I would say they lost a game when it was 10-8 when Stefanski made the call to go for it on fourth down on their own side of the field. If you want to point fingers, the first thing I'm going to do is look in the mirror at me. The game we lost in Kansas City in the playoff game, Nick Chubb fumbled a ball. Unfortunately, okay, we had a first down in Detroit. Kareem Hunt got a holding flag. We lose a game to the Atlanta Falcons. Kareem Hunt don't do what he's supposed to do on the screenplay. I don't remember all the good things those guys did, but I remember the bad
Bad.
things that didn't go well for us.
Hmm.
And if they practice extremely hard, it's forgiven. But if they don't practice hard, it don't sit well with me, you know. And with Kevin, he seemed to be pointing the finger at everybody else and not looking at that mirror. That's my problem with him.
Sapphire, how important, and then Russ, how important is it that, regardless of who's at fault, how important is it that Shador gets some wins under his belt and to have some kind of winning traction going into the off season?
I mean, for me, I wouldn't put it that way. Okay. He's already shown me that he has enough of the tangibles and intangibles to be a leader of this team. If everything that Coach Stump said happens, and I agree, clean house on the offensive line, right? But as it relates to the rest of the games this year, I can just simply say it this way. I just want to see the Cleveland Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I hear you. I
Russ,
think I
Russ,
think I think Shador is only auditioning for the ownership. I don't think it matters if he win another game. I think if he just keeps doing what he's doing, because it's already proven what we keep reiterating. Ownership. I mean, not. Excuse me. The coaches, Stefanski specifically, is trying to doom him every game. We he could have been a different result in 49ers game. Definitely should have been a different result against the Titans. He played well enough potentially to win both of those games. So I think it's just how ownership is looking at him and where they want to move forward with Deshaun Watson still being there.
I want to bring something to the panel, you guys. Just a FYI, I'm in a fantasy league with Russ. I think he cheats because he's beating every year, every week. He's kicking somebody's. You know what? I can't figure out his formula, but I will say Russ is an avid student of the different positions in the league. And so, with that being said, Coach Stump, there's been a little bit of a trend, just from my light observation, of star quarterbacks. You just talked about Hurts, um, Patrick Mahomes, Jared Allen's coming around as of late. Joe Burrow had a rough year. Lamar Jackson looks like a whole different person. I don't know what's going on there, Coach. But there
Injury.
seems the elite superstar quarterbacks. I don't know if the game is shifting, or if this is a rough year, or does the league make adjustments? Coach Stump, why is it that these group of quarterbacks I just mentioned are struggling right now?
Well, unfortunately, all of those guys that you mentioned, for the most part, they got injured.
Mhm.
And it's tough. Baker, we played Baker when Baker had every injury known to man. He shouldn't have been playing. Case Keenum should have been playing, which he would have directed that team in the playoffs. Baker would have been getting healthy when we hit the playoff. Now you put Baker back in, but we didn't do that. I mean, C.J. Stroud got hurt. Mills played, I think, 3 games, won 3 games.
Yep.
CJ had a chance to sit on the sideline. He came back, and now he's playing pretty dang on good. So you trying to get these guys it's experiencing a lot of injuries with the quarterback. Daniel Jones, he should have probably tried to sign a contract when he was hot. They didn't. And now, unfortunately for him, he tore his Achilles. So you've had a lot of injuries going on in football, and it seems to hit one position. Seem like every year it's going to hit a position, and unfortunately, this year it's the quarterbacks.
What you think about Philip Rivers coming out of retirement?
Listen, he's on the practice squad. I think it's okay. You know,
Hmm.
they're not going anywhere. Uh, I, shoot, why not come out?
Yeah,
They're gonna, they,
We had some
they're gonna pay him some money to do it. Why not?
yeah. He got a lot
we
of
have
kids
some
to
big
feed.
games. We have some big games in the AFC North. I think it's a shame Sapphire and Russ being just about as avid a Browns fan as you'll find. You guys are a little more vested than even I am. I'm a man. I jump ship quick. Uh, just don't get back in the league. All my Brown stuff is going in a box. But
Mhm.
anyways, uh, the Steelers beat the Ravens. I thought that was a big game. As bad as Lamar Jackson has looked as of late, whether it's due to injuries or not.
Mhm.
Um, and then the Bengals had a chance to beat the Bills and get back in the mix. Uh, Did the Steelers beat the Ravens? Do I have that correct?
Yeah, you're right. You got it right.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Aaron Rodgers was 23 for 34, a touchdown. Metcalf had a big game, 7 catches for 148. He's on my fantasy team,
Tell me
even though
about it.
Russ still crushing me by about 200. But
He's on my
uh,
team. He's on my team in the other league.
oh, okay, but the Browns had. I mean, let's just say they went on a nice run there, coming down the stretch. These teams are almost 500. They're going to be what 2 games over 500 and win the division. Coach, uh, do you feel like the season a waste for the Browns, given the stature of the conference they're in and coming out of that division?
The season was a waste when before it began. Russ, I told you they weren't going to have a winning season with the way they handled the draft and the way they was trying to make. They made a mockery of we don't know who's going to be the quarterback. They knew all the while
Right.
Flacco was going to be the quarterback. He didn't get the reps that he needed with those receivers, and the season is what it is. But now, uh, really, it's a good deal for uh, Shador because he's getting an opportunity to perform. He's showing you he can throw the ball. The Browns need the offensive line, but if Manning is there, if he comes out when they draft, do they pass on him? I think not. I don't know that.
I
They
don't
need
see it.
offensive linemen. They need offensive linemen. But if you get Manning, now you got the fans back. Just with that, you got them back. You know, I hope that don't happen.
He's
But
not that special. He's not that special.
no, he's not that special. But he is a Manning.
Yeah. I got a quick
Yeah.
question for you, Coach. When you played, you had this perspective. How do you feel as a player and knowing that the team, I don't know if it's ownership, front office, or the coaching staff, is not invested in winning that season? I know you're kind of like a mercenary. You get paid year to year almost. How do you feel about that?
I don't think uh, as a player or as a coach I've ever been in that situation. I could be dead behind wrong.
Mhm,
Just don't feel that because I know as a player and my teammates, we all went out every day trying to work hard to win a football game.
mhm,
That's just what we did. And as a coach, I know every day we try to game plan with the intentions of winning a football game.
mhm.
So I don't think I've ever been in that situation. I think, but when you take a look at some of the moves that Kevin is making right now, I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
It's
Some of the
sabotage.
moves, some of the moves that Andrew made, it just doesn't make sense. You don't allow a team to get old on you like that. I
Mhm,
mean, the most important players are those offensive linemen, and you know their health are like thereof, and you don't see that as a necessity to draft one of those guys or a couple of those draft guys higher. You draft a running back when you had a guy coming off a 5.4 average per carry in Jerome Ford. Not only did you take one running back, but you took two, which
Well, you
was
kind of need him now. You see, Jerome is on IR.
Yes.
yeah. Well, everybody's on our. I mean, look at the
Yeah,
offensive line. Everybody's on
yeah,
our for the most part.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to talk to you guys about some NFL news as well.
Mhm,
The Lions beat the Cowboys. I thought the Cowboys had a great chance to get one up, given the struggles of the Eagles. The Texans beat the Chiefs, coach. The Nick Chubbs and the Baker Mayfields, any player that has been defracted from the Browns, I'm cheering for them. Anything that can shine a light on somebody that they let walk out the door, I'm all for it. So the Chiefs struggled against the Texans. So the Texans are in the thick of things, coach. The Packers beat the Bears. The Bears went from first place to seventh place in the NFC over a week's time. And then the Saints beat the Bucks. Baker Mayfield, his team struggled. They're in the thick of it. And then your guy Sam Darnold, Coach Stump, has the Seahawks at 10-3. They beat the Atlanta Falcons, the Broncos, and the Seahawks. Russ and Stump, and you guys pay attention to the league overall
mhm.
league news. Those guys, I think the Broncos are on a 10-0 win streak right now.
Yep.
Russ, we'll let you start off with this. What are your thoughts at this point of the season? Some of those divisional leaders, and how do you think the Broncos and the Seahawks are going to make out?
I like the Broncos. I think Bo Nix is kind of shaky, but they have a great defense, great head coach. So I mean, when you got it, and their special teams is playing good. So when you got those two or three out of four units going for you, you're gonna win a lot of games. You're gonna win the division. I think they're kind of running away with the division. The Chiefs looking like they're probably not going to make the playoffs, and I think it's going to be a change of guard in the AFC West. Seahawks, they're in a rumble out there in the NFC West with the Rams because the Rams are playing good, Seahawks are playing good. Darnold really surprised me. I don't want to go too deep in it, but he really surprised
Hey,
me.
that's dumb guy. Dumb is
Yeah,
Darnold guy.
he didn't impress me much in college, and quietly, I'm a Jets fan too, so I can let that be known. So I didn't think he was good with them, but I'm kind of rooting for the guy now.
Well, I'll start with Sam. Uh, Sam at USC, he could do everything. He was kind of like Caleb in Chicago. They both would throw the interception,
Hmm.
but Sam, he could run, he could throw, he could do it all. I know that drafting him, so this is my deal. I gotta make sure this guy is not throwing the interception. And we did a bad job with him as an offensive staff. Uh, I tried to get the Browns to bring Sam in because I
Really?
knew his personality. I knew of Alex Van Pelt, and I knew what Kevin can do. Sam was the type of guy that Kevin would flourish with because he's non-combative. Okay, uh, and he's kind of like a Kirk Cousins who he had in Minnesota. So he would have been good.
If you were, say you were GM at the time, would you have taken him over Baker?
Uh, I would. Todd Bowles would not have. The only reason he took Baker was because Sam was because Baker was gone. If I
Okay.
was a GM, I probably would have taken Sam because of his height. Okay,
Hmm.
because of his height, and he could still spin the ball as well. And then you got to have conversations to see how the guys go along.
Hmm.
Baker, even though Baker was the first round draft pick, he still thought he had to achieve something else.
Hmm.
So he was kind of out there
Yeah.
his first couple years. I mean,
Hmm.
you really couldn't talk to Baker much. He made a big thing out of everything. I liked him, but when he came to the running back room, I let him know, hey, look, I'm coaching these guys. Outside the room, you can say whatever you want to say to them, but in here, I'm coaching them. Okay, this is the way we gonna do things in here because Baker had that stink to him now, and everybody respected him because he was the quarterback. But I I like his fire. You just had to know how to coach him, and unfortunately, you know, uh, Freddie allowed him to get out there a little bit, and unfortunately, it cost Freddie his job. But and that Kevin couldn't deal with that type of person. That's why neither Andrew, because they laid back type people, and Baker was more out there. But I think the Bears are gonna find a way, I think, to get back and win that thing. The Packers won it, but I think the Bears may end up winning it after all. I think they're gonna get back on the road, no question, when they go there this weekend. The Texans, like you said, they're probably out of it. Really disappointed, man. The game that really disappointed me, Russ, was the Cowboys game.
Yeah,
I
me too.
mean,
Yeah, they
and
stunk.
one person in particular, Pickens,
Yeah.
he did
He took
not
it
show
out.
up. I mean,
Yeah,
if he plays like he had been playing the season, Jerry Jones might have gave him a contract after that game.
I think
yep.
contract was on his mind. Why? That's why he was playing like that.
He was not going half speed.
Mhm.
I mean, he wasn't doing anything. They come back out the second half and try to hit him with a slant. It's an interception.
You
You
know
see
what? If
Dak
they
on the
could,
sideline telling him to reach for the ball.
if they could get both those receivers on the same page, because if you go back a couple games, I kind of watch the Cowboys a lot. Um, CD had a couple bad games where he was dropping balls, multiple balls every game, but then Pickens was picking it up. And now when CD gets his stuff together, now Pickens is out. It's like I don't know what's going on with them guys.
Okay with the drops, but what CD was never half behind. He was always
Hmm.
full speed. He dropped some balls. You're absolutely right, and it
Hmm.
would have been okay if Pickens dropped some ball, but Pickens wasn't going full speed at all. He was half assing everything. I could not believe that because that's not how he had been playing.
No, nope.
I want to ask you, Sapphire, what are your thoughts on some of those division leaders? The Texans, the Bills, the Packers. Anything stand out in some of those
Yeah.
other divisions?
So for me, CJ is healthy this year and he's got a line. He to me reads defenses exceptionally well. And I think we're seeing that based on what their performance has been. However, my sleeper team that I picked this summer was the Green Bay Packers, right? Especially after they got Parsons. He's so disruptive. He draws so much attention from that offensive line, which creates opportunities for his teammates. Kind of like the way we see Miles Garrett, right? With a healthy D line. And he's consistent at getting at the quarterback. Whether it's sacks, rushes, hurries, to me, that gives Jordan Love and that offense more time on the field. So I'm really leaning into their upcoming game at Chicago against the Bears. I think to end the season, I really think that's an opportunity for the Packers to just really stand on the podium by themselves. And I like to see the two coaches go back and forth with each other as well.
Hmm. I think
You guys, Bears versus Browns predictions. Go ahead, Russ.
um like the Bears, the Browns can't prove that they can put a whole complete game plan together, and they don't really want to win these games. So I'm gonna go with the
Give us a
Bears.
final score.
I think Shador gonna put up some points. 31
I'm writing these down too.
25.
Say
Since
it
he likes
again, Russ.
to 31-25. Since he likes to go for these 2 point conversions, I'm gonna throw a weird number, 31-25.
Sapphire, what's your prediction in the final score of the Bears Browns?
For everything that Russ just said, I'm going to say 23-17 Bears.
Coach Stump,
38-10.
Ooh.
Bears.
Of course.
I'm just making sure. I don't know. You might have some information. So okay.
Mhm.
I want to go into you guys something that's really been a big topic, and I'm really curious to see what you have to say, Coach Stump, on. We were talking a little bit about the financial implications of the CFP, and so Notre Dame did not get in the final rankings. It was the CPF, College Playoff Championship. What is it, you guys? What is it, Russ?
CFP, you had it right. College
Yeah,
football
college
playoff.
football playoff. There we go.
Mhm.
Notre Dame decided to pull out of the bowl game, blamed the ACC for, I guess, the schedule comments, what have you. Um, One thing out there was glaring to me, coach, is you got seniors on that team, you got memories, you got families involved. For
Mhm.
me personally, and I don't have an inside seat with this whole deal, but it seemed a little bit arrogant, and they made that decision so quickly. We're gonna let Coach Stump take off on this one first. What are your thoughts on not only the final CFP rankings, but Notre Dame deciding to pout and sit out of a bowl game?
Well, some of those players probably now some players don't play in bowl games because if they're not playing in the championship games in the series, some of them don't play in bowl games if they're not seniors, if they're seniors or if they're coming in the draft. Players have decided to do that as well. So, it's up to. I mean, they said it was a player's decision. They don't want to play in bowl games. I can understand them not wanting. I mean, being disappointed about not being in the playoffs. But Hey, it's a decision they made right now with NIL and everything going on. These players are making their own decisions.
Coach, should Alabama have gotten in? Coach Stump,
Alabama is in.
should
Oh,
they have gotten in?
yeah, I think so. I mean, had they not had to play in the championship, that's another thing. Some teams don't have to play in a conference championship. Some of them do. It's it's tough. It's tough. That's why they moved the
Sapphire?
games to 12, and now it's just tough. They'll have 16 in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Coach Stump in terms of his thoughts on Alabama, but I want to go back right quick and say I'm riding with Russ. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think Notre Dame is truly in negotiations with the conference that they're going to be a part of
Mhm.
very soon. So I don't think it had anything to do about what the press is reporting. I just think they're in negotiations for actually joining a conference.
Russ, before you answer that, Russ, I want to put this
Mhm.
out there with the transfer portal and the things that are occurring in college football. Uh,
Mhm.
it seems to me that the players and the kids always come last. A player like Kiffin can leave a school, even though he said he would coach the bowl games. Coach Stump, I have a hard time believing that kid who's on the Notre Dame team is going to end up being a math teacher or a high school coach or whatever.
Mhm.
Decides he doesn't want to play in a bowl game. This is the end of his football career, right? His family has been invested since he was a kid. They love to travel. They want to see their kid on TV,
Yep.
and they made that decision almost immediately. Coach, my grandpa used to say "rat's ass," right, which means I'm not buying that they went to those kids that quickly and they came up with that decision and said they're going to set out a bowl game. I believe that was a decision made by some alumni, some boosters, the AD. I'm not even sure the head coach over there, Freeman, maybe agree with that because that's not doesn't seem like a player's first decision.
Not at all.
Russ, what do you think?
Not at all. It's not a player, and I think definitely Freeman didn't agree with that. You failed your program. I mean, take it like a man. You lost 2 games. You lost to Miami. Um, and you don't play a conference championship game. Like you say, I was kind of on the fence with Alabama, the 3 losses, but my partner with the Hall of Fame Academy, Marcus Dent, I give him a shout out. He got me thinking Alabama played a tough schedule. They won big games. So they kind of deserve to be in there. I think even over Miami, Alabama deserved to be in there. Notre Dame, they lost to Miami. So you can't really you can't have no right. There's no dog in that fight. You know what I'm saying with Notre Dame. So they should have just let the kids play in the bowl game. You got the one kid Love who's going to be at the up for a
The
Heisman
Heisman ceremony.
Trophy, and he can't even finish out his career with another game. Some of those kids, of course, they're not in the playoffs, so they might say, "Well, I don't want to risk my career. I'm not going to play in the game." But like you said, the kids who what I'm saying it's their last game, family wanted to see him travel. They could have been anywhere in Texas and California and Florida playing a bowl game, and they just failed them.
See, the last couple of years, some of these seniors or guys that were going in the draft have elected not to play in those
Hmm.
bowl games.
Right.
Now, the entire team, no. You got sophomores, juniors,
Hmm.
uh, some freshmen that could play in the game now. Probably would have loved to have played, but that's they're saying that the players chose not to play in the game. I don't know. Players are different now.
You might get some
Uh,
transfers
This was my
because of that.
first year around college players, and they are different. They
Hmm.
have they have their own opinion about stuff.
I just want to and wrap it up the show. We'll start left to right. Russ, you can go first. Who plays in the national championship game? What two teams? I don't know if you have
Indiana.
the bracket available.
I don't need it. Indiana, Ohio State. They set up the rematch. Uh,
Sapphire?
oh, we didn't. You don't want to score?
No, I don't want to score you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna
Okay.
get that next week.
Okay. All right.
Are they
Sapphire,
on Are they on opposite sides, Russ?
Yes, they are.
all Big Ten national championship. You know what?
Okay.
That might be tough for Coach Stump. I keep telling him it's the Midwest. We kind of created the pigskin, so we're having two Big Ten teams. in the national championship. Sapphire, who you got in the national championship game?
I'm riding with Russ. It's the perfect setup for the Buckeyes.
Perfect.
Rematch and victory. Absolutely.
Ratings on ratings on ratings.
So
And Mendoza,
which one of
go
those
ahead, Coach.
which one of those teams, Russ, are on the side with Georgia?
Ohio State.
Okay, so it's going to be Indiana and Georgia.
If Georgia gets in, I ain't answering Coach Stump's calls.
Hey, coach. I don't think Georgia gonna have those same refs that they had the last time we played.
Russ, you know I had to go with Georgia, man.
I know. I'm just saying that referee crew, it won't be the same ref crew. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a
Hey,
little
you know
different.
what though? Georgia is going to be a tough out, and they're a tough out.
Hey,
Yeah,
they got to get by Oklahoma.
yeah, they do. Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Oklahoma too. Great
Yeah.
season.
Also to take notice, the Heisman finalists. I think Mendoza secured the Heisman with the game at Ohio State.
Yep.
I don't, Coach. I want to ask you about the Mendoza kid. Have you had a chance to see him? Because to me, I just don't see first round pick. I'm not an analyst. I'm not the guys from ESPN. I just ain't seeing the athleticism. And he has a strong arm. He stayed in the pocket there, but as a guy that's going to run your franchise, I'm not seeing that. But I'm not the expert. What do you think about him, Coach Stump, the
I
Mendoza
think,
kid from Indiana?
listen, you from where they were last year,
Yep.
playing Ohio State and how they got beat last year, and Coach
Mhm.
Cincinnati bringing them guys back this year with Mendoza. Yeah, he could be a first round draft pick,
Number one
So,
overall.
number one overall.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Sapphire, what do you think about the Mendoza kid?
Absolutely. He checks all the boxes. And I agree with everything that Coach Stump just said. He's special. He's seasoned. And I actually think Coach Signetti, I think, should be coach of the year too, with what he's done with that program in 1 year. So
oh,
yeah,
He
he
will
will
be.
be.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'm gonna jump out on the limb. I was the runt maybe of the litter. And you guys might agree. I think Ohio State. I'm not a Ryan Day guy, right? And I think Ohio State shows some chinks in the armor. I believe they're going to get beat. I'm gonna put that out there. Also, I don't think Mendoza is the guy that I would pick number one in the draft. I just don't. I'm not seeing it.
Who do you
But
see?
it's 3 against 1, and then you got Coach Stump saying it. But he's not. He's not a guy I would go with the number one overall pick if
Who
I had to
who
push the red.
who you think then, bro? Who you leaning toward?
You know what? I think coach is rubbing off on me. I'm gonna, whoever they say is the top offensive lineman, that top tackle. You know what I mean? I might go grab maybe the Tate kid, but I would go with a interior offensive or defensive lineman. We need another. I don't know if you can see a Hall of Famer that early in the game, but we need a 10-year guy at right guard, left guard. I'm gonna start there. I can
So
find him in
so
those.
so are we going? I think Mendoza's gonna be number one pick in the draft. For the Browns, number one pick. I like wide receiver. I go wide receiver, and then I go tackle with the second pick.
Well, they're going to have two. They're going to have two first round picks. First round
Yep.
picks, right?
Yep.
It all depends on where I can get that tackle.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I mean, I can't fall back too far because I want the best tackle I can get.
Hmm.
Right.
That's what they need. They need a guy, Joe Thomas, a guy that's going to be that Hall of Fame guy. They got.
I
They got
don't I don't see it in this draft. That's why I'm taking a wide receiver. I think the value this draft specifically is higher at wide receiver than it is at tackle. I think once you get beyond the first tackle, they're all kind of, it's your coach at that point. Bring Callahan back.
I mean, Russ, not even Caden Proctor out of Bama.
Nah, overrated.
Whoo, tough crowd.
Yeah,
Mm.
I wouldn't draft the Alabama offensive lineman ever.
Cedric burned you that bad, didn't he?
He burned a lot of teams. Alabama offensive linemen have burned a lot of teams.
well.
Trust me, I studied the draft. They burned a lot. I'm taking the tackle from the Big Ten first.
So would you have taken Worth, like Coach Callahan said?
Yeah, Iowa.
Yeah.
I'm taking a Big Ten tackle, a Big Ten offensive lineman. I'm not. Yeah, I'm going with that first. If I'm looking at players, and I'm going Big Ten first.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, some great info, great show. We kind of doubled our time, but it was natural flow.
Yep.
So just want to everybody have some last words. I'm just going to say I'll be watching the Browns game. Also, T County Browns backers giving away. I don't know where they keep getting all these jerseys from. I think my guy Rich is signing those jerseys himself, but they're giving away, I don't know, 5 to 10 jerseys. I saw some Hall of Famers jerseys there down in Shenanigans this Sunday to watch the Browns game, the watch party. Uh, Final words from everybody. We'll start with Russ and then go to Sapphire and then Coach Stump.
Final words. Go Shadur. I'm not gonna say go Browns. I'm gonna say go Shadur.
Go Shador from Russ.
That's
Sapphire,
what we all watching for at this point. Oh, and Miles. Shadur and Miles breaking the
Go
record.
Miles. Go
There we
Shador, go Miles from Russ. Sapphire.
Yeah, I'm going to ride with Russ again. Go Shadur, go Miles. And I always want you gentlemen to know how much I love you and I appreciate you letting me be a part of this thing. So just God bless each and every one of you and your family. And thank you to the listeners and the viewers. And look forward to next week.
I think this is going to be a tough game for the defense because Caleb Williams, he can throw the ball, but he also can run. And they also, I'm not going to say trick plays because trick plays, you don't know, 50-50. That's not how the Bears look at them. They don't call them trick plays. These are plays that we practice and we're going to make work. It was like that in Detroit. It's like that with them. So this is going to be a tough game for the defense. And I'm not sure if Denzel is going to be back. He had a concussion,
Did he
right?
go out? I didn't see that.
I thought it was
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Wasn't it
This
his
is about
scalp?
that time of year for him.
Yeah, I think Denzel got hurt in the game as well. So, it's
Yeah.
going to be tough for those guys. Those Bear fans, that stadium is going to be rocking and rolling. Ain't no question about that. They're still hoping they can finish first and
Yeah.
hoping they can be first, period. Hoping other teams will lose and they hang on to things. So it's going to be a tough game for the Browns, but I wish they can go and perform as well as they can. I wish Miles is able to get a sack or two and he's able to get that sack record and go beyond it, but it's going to be tough. But I know those guys there. I know they work extremely hard. I wish the best for them.
Hey, we want to break that record against Pittsburgh.
Absolutely, Russ.
And one more before we go. It was great seeing JOK in the building. I wish him the best. Wish he could come back, but hey, he gave us some good moments.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
Thank everybody for joining us. Stump Talk Podcast, RBU, Running Back University, episode 15. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.